Welcome to another Juicy Gossip show, and today we are talking about titties and the nitty gritty. We're really getting to the serious matter of breast cancer awareness. I'd really like to welcome Jo, Kizzie and Emma to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
So I want to go straight in here, Kizzie, to you. You're a sports fundraiser for the Prevent Breast Cancer charity. You've been with the charity about 9 months now, and I just wanted to do some facts actually, first and foremost, for anyone looking in here. So 1 in 9 women and 1 in 1,000 men will develop breast cancer during their lifetime. It's the most common cancer for women in the UK, which is quite astounding really, and it's just not talked about enough, is it? So really, I want to know, Kizzie, why the charity was created.
Of course. So our charity was created about 25 years ago by breast surgeon Lester Barr. So he just saw a conveyor belt of women every single day that he had to give the bad news to, that they had breast cancer, and he just felt like it was getting more and more and nothing was being done. So he kind of asked himself the question, why is no one doing anything to prevent this disease? Why do I have to keep telling these women every single day this awful news? So that's kind of how the charity was born. So that's what we focus on, obviously prevention. Right. And we've just gone from strength to strength, but obviously there's still so much work that needs to be done.
Yeah, and what actually, apart from the professor, actually bringing this charity to fruition, what do you actually do within the charity?
So we have a number of different focuses. So a lot of it is on awareness, about checking yourself regularly, what to look out for. But then a lot of it is based on the science and research. So we fund a lot of research. So there's the gene research. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the BRCA gene, but there's so many more than that. So family history is so important. Screening is so important as well. So we do a lot of work on that, because the earlier you obviously catch breast cancer, the better chance you have of surviving. And diet and lifestyle is also a key thing. So that's one of our main things that we focus on, and how having a healthier diet, doing more exercise can really reduce your risk.
And we'll talk about that a bit later, won't we? So I think really you touched on something there with regards to examining breasts and things. Can you tell us the correct way of how we do this? Because there's many ladies out there that don't know how to do this.
Yeah, and obviously it's so important, and it's something that even I'm guilty of, especially before I joined the charity, of not doing it enough or not knowing how to do it. So we do have these little leaflets, which I'll briefly hold up, but if anyone wants one, just let us know. But we say to do it once a month. If you're still having periods, we say to do it after you finish. So you just stand in the mirror and look to see if you've got any changes there, any dimples, any lumps. And then in the shower or lying down on your bed, you just go in a circular motion in a clock face around your breast and using like the pads of your fingers. But obviously if you notice any changes, always go to your GP. Any questions or concerns, we can't stress it enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously your GP would show you how to do it, wouldn't they, as well?
Yeah, of course. And we have a video as well, which I can send, and maybe we can put a link to from one of our professors who can show you too. But yeah, definitely do it once a month.
Yeah, I think we'll put that link up, and we'll put some kind of contact number if anyone wants those cards, because I think it's really important. I know I'm guilty of it as well. So I think we just need to get it out there a bit more, that is essential really, isn't it, for women?
Yeah, exactly. I think catching it early is so important. So just really getting to know your own breasts, it's such an important thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's helplines and groups and things that we can actually put on as well, but I know we spoke earlier and you said that anyone can contact the charity. if they need help, or you
Yeah.
suggested the GP, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. So go on to our website, you can contact us through there, and we're always there to help. If you've got any questions, we'll try and help you as much as we can.
Yeah.
And as I said, any concerns you do, just reach out to your GP.
Anything tiny, anything small that you think's menial, just go.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
not worth it, is it?
No, it can save your life. Just any little small thing that, even if it's just playing on your mind and you think it's nothing at all, just don't feel silly, just reach out, definitely.
Absolutely. Okay. So you've been with the charity a small amount of time, but in that time, what have you learnt working with this cancer charity?
I think working with such amazing women, so Emma and Jo, for example, like this, the female empowerment and around the charity, and just learning more about how breast cancer can affect younger people. So Emma will touch on that later, but I'm quite young myself. I'm only 25, and you just think, oh, it can't happen to me, like it won't happen. But I think just having that knowledge is so powerful, and have been surrounded by such amazing, incredible women every single day. It's amazing.
It actually is, isn't it? And hearing some of these stories are just, you know, they're mind-blowing, actually, what women are having to go through. So what would you recommend? What can we all do to help raise awareness for breast cancer?
I think one of the key things is talking to your friends and family. I feel like sometimes it's not a taboo, but people feel like they don't want to bring it up because it is such a difficult topic. And I think just making sure that people know about checking themselves, if they have any concerns, just knowing who to reach out to, what to do. I think I have a little sister myself, so she's just in university now, and I've been saying it to her, just like, you need to start from a young age, and just making sure the people around you, and the men of course as well, because it is 1 in 1,000 there too. I think just within the community, within your group, just really spreading that message to check yourself and go to your screenings. It's so important.
It's funny, you know, because we've all got the same bodies, but that's not one thing I thought of about the men. It never came to my head about that at all.
No, I know. And before the charity, it was the same. But we have an ambassador who's a man, so he's had preventative surgery because he had the family history, and it's just not something that you ever think about, and it's something that men need to be aware of. They need to look out for it too. Absolutely
they do. So we need to get that awareness out there too. So thank you for your time. I'm just going to move to Jo now, Jo Hoddes. So she's an ambassador for Prevent Breast Cancer. Welcome, Jo.
Thank you.
I want to know why you became an ambassador for the charity more than
anything. I initially heard about the charity. I was asked to help at an event a few years ago now, at the old it wasn't the Nightingale Centre then, it was in Didsbury. I can't remember what it was called, Kizzie, but I was asked to help at the event. I didn't really know an awful lot about the charity. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know where it was, what they did or anything. And we did an evening with a group of ladies who were all either going through breast cancer or had breast cancer. It was a fundraising event, and I got to meet, obviously, the charity, the ladies from the charity. I listened to a talk from Lester Barr, and I was completely blown away when I heard him speak. And, you know, obviously not everybody's listened to, but I just heard him speak and how passionate he was about the charity and how much he wanted to help women, that it kind of took my breath away. And that's how I kind of ended up getting involved, because after that event I ended up doing some events of my own for the charity, and just met some absolutely amazingly inspirational women from, you know, from events that we did, mostly ladies who again had breast cancer or were going through surgery or chemotherapy. And got to know the people at the charity, who are all lovely, lovely people. It's local, you know, it's local to us. So if we get breast cancer, undoubtedly we will go to the Nightingale Centre at some point, which a lot of people around here don't know. you know, I didn't realise when I'd heard of Prevent Breast Cancer, it was based locally, and it is, you know, it's obviously in Manchester. And I know it's a small charity who don't get a lot of funding and rely on people like myself to raise money. So, you know, again, I've had friends and family who've had breast cancer. I sadly lost one of my friends 2 years ago to breast cancer. So I'm quite passionate about the charity, and very kindly asked me to be an ambassador, which is a real honour.
It's absolutely fantastic. Such a great cause. And how do you go around the fundraising for the charity? What, I know you touched on the events, so how do you go around doing all that?
Well, I've done quite a few fashion shows now. So we started off obviously doing an in-house fashion show at the hospital, using their patients and some nurses, which was fab. And then we kind of went on to do our own. I've done fashion shows probably for the last 25 years for various different charities. I've done a lot for Francis House, the Christie, East Cheshire Hospice, and it's just something that I can do. And, you know, it obviously now I try and do them for Prevent Breast Cancer, but any other things really, you know. I love doing events, and we then obviously came up with the Paint the Town Pink for Cheadle Hulme and Bramwell, which has been done before in other aers.
Tell us about that. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, so obviously Emma, who I met through the charity, she's an ambassador as well. Paint the Town Pink was started in Macclesfield a few years ago. I don't know how many years ago, and it was done by a chap who had breast cancer himself, I believe. I think it's the chap Kizzie was talking about, was it, Kizzie?
Yeah, so he lost quite a few of his family members, I believe, to breast cancer.
So he started the Paint the Town Pink in Macclesfield, where he got a few bars and restaurants involved, and they did various fundraising things. Altrincham do it every year. Obviously we went into lockdown, so nothing was done for a couple of years, and so we just thought it'd be a nice idea to kind of bring it back. So I live in Bramwell. I went to school in Cheadle Hulme. I've got a local Facebook community page, so it's a really good platform to use to spread the word. Obviously they're both next to each other, so it seemed to make sense to do Cheadle Hulme and Bramwell, because Cheadle Hulme had done it before a few years ago on their own, and we just kind of came up with, we just made things up as we went along, didn't we, Emma, really? We kind of told the community, went into shops, went into bars and restaurants, and just said, you know, everybody get involved, paint your windows pink, do your own fundraising, whatever you want to do. People did loads of different things, but it was the awareness as well. So really importantly, obviously the money side of it is fantastic, because, you know, the charity needs the money, but it was the awareness of the charity and Prevent Breast Cancer, and encouraging women to check the breasts, and it just looked fabulous. Everybody was amazing. We've just finished it at the end of May. We've not counted the money up yet, we're in the process of doing it, but it just looked fab, and loads of people who were coming from different areas were saying, oh my god, you know, it looks so great, all the shops are pink, and there's all sorts of displays, people have painted the windows, people have put pink bras in the windows, flowers, clothes, everything. It just looked fantastic.
It's a talking point for sure, isn't it? What a great thing to do. I was going to ask you how much you've raised, but I know we had a chat before, and you're still counting, aren't you?
Counting and collecting at the moment.
We're not focusing on that, like you said, because you made a really, really valid point there. And this is what I would do in my events. So I always say this about charity. It's great, the money, but you're absolutely right. It's sometimes equally as important for the awareness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we'd like to do is, you know, when we do another one, is maybe, because we've done it, get other places involved. So as I've said, Altrincham have done it. Macclesfield, obviously they've done it. There's a few others, but it would be nice to kind of spread the word to different areas and get different people and towns and villages. And if we can spread it throughout the whole, you know, the whole of the UK, it would be even better.
Oh God, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? a
Yeah.
sea of pink. It just
Yeah.
be fantastic. Yeah, really great. And well, I hope, I know that you'll do so many things, Jo, because I know you personally as well. So I know it'll end up being just phenomenal, because when you've got something, when you're doing something, it always ends up being fantastic. So well done for everything you've done. So Emma, I'm going to bring Emma Riley in now. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at 23, which for me, I would say that's quite unusual. But what's your story, Emma? Can you explain to us what happened?
Yeah, of course I can. It's got easier over the years to talk about it, that's for sure. So it's over 10 years ago now, but I was 23 at the time. Like everyone else has said, I had no idea about the charity prior to this. Prior to finding out I was ill, I didn't know anything about it. So that became a huge thing to me afterwards, was to get the word out for the younger generations, just in case anybody else was going to be going through it. So I, one day, must have been checking, didn't know consciously that I was checking, but I was in the shower and found a lump, quite just on the surface of my breast. So I was young, a bit naive. I was a bit like, oh, I don't know what that could be. My mum was quite sure I needed to get it checked. So I went to see my GP, went back a couple of times to see my GP, because they were convinced it was something to do with my monthly cycle.
Yeah.
Anything but cancer, because of my age. So after about, I think it was the second or third time, I can't remember now, I went back and asked to be referred at that point, and they did. So I ended up at the Nightingale Centre. That was my appointment. So I went and I saw who ended up being my surgeon, saw my doctor that day. I was there all day. I had initially had a mammogram done, and an ultrasound, and then all I remember, it's a bit of a blur, but I do remember sitting in a room with who was my boyfriend at the time, he's now my husband, and seeing the doctor come back in with two nurses with him, and they had kind of paperwork and folders, and at that moment I knew instantly what was happening. It was a blur, it was a bit of a weird day, but after that, without going into too much detail, the support that I was given, I wouldn't have made it through. To be perfectly honest, I wouldn't have made it through. I saw counsellors, I saw support nurses, I spoke to my doctor if ever I needed to. They spoke through every single stage of any treatment that I needed to have. And due to my age, I ended up having it all. So I had to have I had a lumpectomy done, and then after that they thought it best that I started chemotherapy. So, but prior to starting chemotherapy, because I was so young, they wanted me to go through egg harvesting to protect my chances of having a family in the future.
Yeah.
So I had to do that before we could start the chemotherapy. And then
think about these things, do you?
These are the things you just do not think. My initial, again, naivety, my initial thought was, I don't want to lose my hair and I don't want to lose my breasts. That was it. I never even thought I wouldn't be able to have children. There was a possibility it affects that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a huge thing to just make sure that the information is out there, especially not just for the older generation and for the ladies in the middle, but for younger generations as well. Yeah. So touch wood, not many people will, but if they ever come to that situation, they've got more information to go off rather than just sitting on Google like I did.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because a lot do that and then scare themselves to death as well. So can I ask you, is it unusual to get breast cancer at 23?
Yeah, I mean, Kizzie might be able to tell you a bit more now, but I know at the time, yes, it was really, everybody was kind of in shock and awe that it was cancer. I think, unfortunately, it is more common not as common, but it is more common in younger women now. And I think that's due to lifestyle changes. It's not the way it was when people were younger. So, and I know we'll touch on diet and lifestyle, but yeah, it's definitely more common. I wouldn't say it's very common. It is still quite rare.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about your treatment there, and you had chemotherapy. Yeah. Was that what you had, and that sorted it out for you?
No, well, it was long conversations. I had a lumpectomy, and they thought they'd taken everything, but then a cell broke off and it came back up there's like a spot on top of the skin. So at that point, when they checked that, it was kind of, what do you want to do? I went through genetics testing. I am not carrying any of the genes that they're aware of. There's no family history of it on either side of my parents' family. So it was really kind of a scary situation in some way, because it's not great to be carrying a gene, but also you kind of have an idea of your risk and what was going on. It was kind of, I just woke up one day with cancer and nobody knows why. So it was really frightening. So my options were given to me, and I ended up having a double mastectomy and reconstruction when I was 24.
That is quite something to go through at that age as well.
It's a huge operation at any age. Yeah, it is. It was huge. So I had that done, and then I had a couple of rounds of radiotherapy as well afterwards.
Gosh, that is.
And then that was the end of my treatment. It was kind of a very long but very busy 9 months. All in all, I think it took to get through that full cycle.
And in that time, Emma, did you feel, behind closed doors, did you feel the worst? Did you think you were going to die, or did you keep everything really positive?
I'd be lying if I said I was positive. I was not. I mean, if you speak to my husband, he'll happily tell you I'm not the most positive person in the world, but I've learned to be more positive because I've come out the other side. So it's taught me a lot. At the time, yes, I feared the worst. I did.
Yeah.
I went from, I didn't want to lose my hair. I didn't want to lose my breast. And it was, oh my God, this is really serious, and something could really happen if I did not come in on that day. So yeah, it was quite frightening at the time.
And I can't even imagine what you've gone through. It's quite emotional, isn't it?
It is, but it's taught me a lot, and I am one of the lucky ones. That's why I am so invested in prevent breast cancer, because they're the reason I am here today. Yes,
and that you got your help through them.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to give something back, and I get that.
I do, yeah. And also I want to spread that word, because it's not about scaring people either. I don't want people to hear this story and go, oh my God, it's the most worst thing. I got through it. It could, like I say, there's people that are going through worse situations. That sounds like a lot, but the options are there. Your chances are there. If you catch it early and through checking yourself, like Kizzie said, I've obviously found it early, and that gave me better chances.
Yes, absolutely. And that is the key to all of it, really.
It is, yeah.
And you touched on the gene thing. So you don't, because it's sort of a bit of a misconception this about genes, isn't it? So do you think that it's genetic, or do you just feel it's just maybe to do with the lifestyle thing?
I don't know. I mean, I've spoke to several different people. There's nothing that they can find that they're aware of. That's not to say, I mean, I might be wrong here. Maybe there's a gene that they've not even found yet, and I could have been carrying. You never know. All I know is that I know now I have 2 daughters, which was amazing to be able to have my 2 daughters, and this now is so important for them. So I need to make sure that, because I don't know, I need to make sure they're aware and they're checking and they're on top of it, just to avoid any kind of issues in the future.
Yeah. So when you say you're going to look into that, what would you do? Can they have a test?
I'm not sure at this stage, because it's quite a long time. One's 10 months and one's 5, so it's quite a way in the future. So we don't know what's going to change in the future. I know that I'll be teaching them. I talked to my daughter about what I do with the charity now. She's helped out at events and been with me doing things, and she's only 5. So she understands how important it is to me. And when she's older, I want that to sort of resonate with her, so she's aware of what needs to be done. And it'll also give her that chance to be able to talk to me, because she knows that she can talk to me about it. So if she is scared or she's worried about something, same with my younger daughter, they can come to me if they ever need to.
Yeah, and that's absolutely key, isn't it? Again, to just be open with your daughters, without a doubt. So you touched on your surgery. Can you talk us through any of that? Can you explain what that was like?
Yeah, it's quite an in-depth surgery, to say the least. But it was a day case, which amazed me, to be honest with you. I was in and out quite quick, I think, if I remember it rightly. I had all the the tissue taken away and all my nipples and the tissue under my nipples taken away. And then they put implants in, and I had drains in as well. So for, I think it was 2 weeks in the end, I had to have kind of bags on my shoulders with drains in and emptying them. And I'd go back for checks. And that was it, basically, is in a nutshell. It's obviously a lot more in depth than that. But that's exactly what I had done.
And they say that's quite a major surgery, don't they?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's quite a big surgery. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, you've been through the mill here, haven't you?
Come out the other side, so.
And you're still smiling. No, it really brings it home to you, doesn't it? When you actually talk to somebody who's been through it. So obviously we've talked about this diet and lifestyle quite a bit throughout, and I just want to bring Kizzie back in about this and talk more about women's health. And obviously anyone else that wants to add in, please do talk to us about where we can help ourselves.
Yeah, of course. So we actually fund Dr. Michelle Harvey. We fund her research. So she has done the only clinically proven 2-day diet. So the 5-2 diet, you might have heard of it before, but she's done all of the research, the science behind that, and it's what we promote. So it's quite a Mediterranean diet. So you eat healthily throughout the week, of course, but 2 days you really cut out the carbs, and it has been proven that it can really help with lowering the risk there. But we do actually have a 2-day diet group on Facebook. So one of our other ambassadors runs it. So it's just a group of women who all support each other, share tips. And so if you were interested in joining that, of course, we can direct you to it. But yeah, that's more of the diet side of things.
So I want to go more in depth here about this diet. So obviously Mediterranean diet, we all know, don't we? It's like the oils and the pulses and the nuts and the grains. What else? Just can you fire off a few things that people should be, even if it's just small things, that they should be thinking of including in their diets?
Unfortunately, I don't know too much in detail about the diet myself. But as I said, we've got the Facebook page, but it is the carbs that you've really got to cut out on those 2 days. So you can eat them throughout the week, but obviously try not to go too overboard. But yeah, it is basically what you've covered, Joanna, about the oils, the protein, things like that.
Fresh fruit, fresh veg, fish, meat, and just I always think as much unprocessed food as you can eat, and stuff without sugar in, that kind of thing. It's a way everybody should eat, really.
Exactly.
It should be. And I've changed my lifestyle diet with being on the menopause anyway, and that's how I know about these things. But things like, should we do organic, Jo? I mean, all these pesticides on fruit and veg, is that affecting people?
I don't know. I mean, I personally don't eat organic. I think there's only so much you can do, but
exactly.
I try and stick to, obviously not every day, but simple. It's really simple, and it's kind of going back to the old school way of eating, the way our parents ate, really. Is the hunters and gatherers thing. So it's kind of, as I said before, don't eat pre-packaged food, try and eat fresh food, and you can eat loads of it. You can have a massive plate full of food, as long as it's fresh and it's cooked well, and don't, like Kizzie said about the try and cut out like white bread and white flour and that kind of thing.
That's the case of that again,
yeah. And you do feel better. Although it is really beneficial for your health, it does make you feel better, and it makes you feel not sluggish. You don't feel sluggish. You have more energy. You don't get hungry, because you're filling your plate full of loads of food, but your body's digesting it quicker.
It's the right food.
Not that I'm a diet guru, by the way, but
But you're absolutely right. And yourself, Emma, I mean, what were you advised? Were you, when you were in hospital and you're going through all this, were you advised all these things?
I was, yeah. I mean, I was
Yeah.
on treatment as well, which was hard. So it does affect you. It does affect you. I was quite sick for some weeks after the chemotherapy. So on the weeks when I could eat, I did just eat what I could keep down. But after that, I do know just from speaking and listening to the research, I think if I'm right, Kizzie, they're saying that, is it 1 in 4 cases could have been prevented if people had changed their lifestyle? So change the diet, cut out on drinking too much, that kind of thing. So it definitely has a huge impact on the end result.
Of course, we've not mentioned drinking, have we? And of course, again, that just in
Yeah.
health, general health, it's better that you cut back anyway.
Yeah,
on
definitely.
all of these things.
Yeah.
And I know that I've got in my notes here to mention about mammograms after over 50. So obviously, if you get an appointment through the post, it's imperative that you go to get these done. They're not pleasant, but you know, we need to get that out there too, don't we?
And they're not that bad either. You know, people, I think there's a load of scaremongery about it, isn't it? It's like giving birth, you know, it's not great, but we've all done it and we've all got to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not as bad as, I don't think it's as bad as people make out, really.
It isn't, and it's necessary. That's the thing. It's either it's 2 minutes over and done with, or lifetime of worry. I know what.
And the same with cervical smears, you know. That's exactly the same. That's had a scaremongering thing, hasn't it? And I think women are scared of the unknown and not going. But again, you know, you must go at any age. You must go and get that done. Is there anything else you want to add, ladies, to the show? Is there anything you want to say before we go? Because I think we've covered virtually everything for today.
Oh, but thanks for having us, obviously.
Yes, just thank you. Thank you for getting the word.
I don't know what the website, preventbreastcancer.co.uk, is it?
Of course. So yeah, preventbreastcancer.org.uk, and we're on Instagram, Facebook. And thank you, Joanna, for having us on, and thank you to Jo and Emma as well for your support and everything you've done for the charity. We honestly couldn't do it without you.
Oh, that's lovely. And obviously we'll do something with you too. We'd love to. I'll have a talk with Jo, and we'd love to do a fundraiser.
That'd be great. Yeah.
It most probably be next year, but we'll do something for sure. It's just something that, you know, you have to have a passion for these things, don't you? So it's certainly something that I would love to look into, and the empowerment of women, and I'm into all that, quite a big advocate of it. So we'll have a chat, Jo, about that.
Definitely.
So we have a busy few weeks coming up. We've got the Royal Ascot event in just under a week's time. So this is with Cheshire Socialites. We've also got a Rewind Entrepreneurs Retreat in York in September, which is a new thing for us. So if you want more information on our events, head over to CheshireSocialites.co.uk. The next show is the 3rd of July, and we're on location, so anything could happen. So we'll see you next time. And thank you, ladies. You can get back to your sangria now, because I know you're on holiday.
Thanks, Jo. Thanks for having us as well and spreading,
See you next week.
the awareness of it. Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.